for insertion.
Raiden!
Raiden is an aggressive and versatile rushdown character who excels at tearing down his opponent's defenses and unleashing powerful combo strings to rack up damage insanely fast. When on the offensive, there's few characters in the game that can match Raiden's damage output, but maximizing said damage will take some time, as the wide variety of setups and the effects of his character mechanic will require a notable amount of practice to use properly. On top of his steep learning curve, those that can find openings in Raiden's offense will find a character with notably weak defensive options and a recovery that's fairly easy to punish. As a result, it's very important as a Raiden player to keep the momentum in your favor, for once you lose it, it might be difficult to get back, especially if it's lost early in a match. Raiden is a large humanoid character, his size being close to that of fellow Metal Gear protagonist, Snake. With his high-frequency blade in hand, Raiden possesses all the staple traits of a rushdown character. He's fast, he's amazing at capitalizing on mistakes, and his damage is usually dealt consistently as opposed to in chunks. At his core, Raiden is designed to be an antithesis to Snake, with Raiden's playstyle being offense-oriented and focused on aggression, whereas Snake is a slower, more defensive fighter that specializes in burst damage. Raiden's playstyle will reward a player that thinks on their toes and actively tries to cut down their opponent's defenses by forcing engagement, while Snake is a more methodical character that gets far more rewards from baiting mistakes in the neutral or his strong Okizeme options. Raiden's arsenal in Smash will consist of his high-frequency blade and his cybernetic enhancements, creating a character that is refined and easy to understand at a base level. Meanwhile, Snake is a walking arsenal of various traps and explosives, two very different characters to represent two very different games. Despite this, however, there will be small similarities between the two that will link both characters to the same franchise. That and Raiden used to really look up to the guy. In terms of mobility options, Raiden has two jumps, along with the ability to wall jump and wall cling. As he hails from a third-party title with a notable gameplay mechanic, it's only fitting that Raiden would carry Metal Gear Rising's most prominent game feature over into Smash in the form of his character mechanic: Blade Mode. In Metal Gear Rising, Blade Mode served as an attack method that allowed Raiden to slow down time around himself, all before cutting any target caught off guard into whatever shape the player wants. You can cut them in half horizontally, cut them in half vertically, turn them into a chicken nugget, or literally turn them into cybernetic soup. Did I mention they even react to it accordingly if it doesn't kill them? However you want to cut something, you can cut it. Trees? Chopped. Stairs? Chopped. Senators? Chopped. The only thing you can't chop is this cat. It's like watching someone who's a master of parrying in Third Strike. In Smash, Blade Mode will work as a unique special attack that the player can cancel into after inputting a normal attack, this having Raiden unleash an outward pulse of energy as he draws his blade. At this point, the player can perform a slash by hitting the A button and change the direction that Raiden slashes by moving the analog stick. And in order to end the mode, the player can hold shield, press jump, double tap the analog stick either backwards or forwards, or simply input down special again. Now, while that sounds quite powerful, it should be noted that Blade Mode will not function at full strength if used casually, with the pulse being nothing but a pretty visual effect in a 45 frame window that will leave Raiden wide open to some serious punishment. Couple that with a very weak knockback growth and a below average damage output, and this isn't a move you want to throw out at a base level. If that's the case, how does one make this mechanic work, you're probably asking? Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, while Blade Mode can be considered Raiden's character mechanic considering the fact that it's a unique type of attack that's yet to be seen in Smash, there's actually a second mechanic working underneath that allows this move to work properly. Enter Raiden's real character mechanic. Zendatsu. Zendatsu works as a passive debuff that Raiden will be able to inflict on his foes by dealing damage with his normal attacks, with 4 hits in quick succession equaling a single stack of Zendatsu. This debuff can be stacked up to 5 times, and for each stack applied, the opponent will take on a progressively intensifying visual effect as their body will become surrounded in a blue static-like effect, and when at maximum stats, they will display a Zendatsu kanji above their head. This visual effect is designed to look the same as the visual effects seen in MGR, where the parts of more tough enemies' bodies will show a visual effect to indicate that they're ready to be cut off via Blade Mode. Once Raiden activates Blade Mode against an opponent that has been inflicted with Zendatsu, they will be put in a state of permanent hit stun as they essentially freeze in place. At this point, the Raiden player's Blade Mode slashes will transform into true Blade Mode attacks, which will deal much heavier damage, with the player being able to perform a single true Blade Mode attack for every stack of Zendatsu they have on their opponent. On the final Zendatsu stack, the opponent will be launched in the direction that Raiden slashes, allowing for an immensely dangerous combo game as Raiden is capable of following up these slashes at low to mid percents. Set up Zendatsu attacks with your incredible combo paths, cash out your work with true Blade Mode combos, transition back into a normal combo to build more stacks, and send your opponent soaring with one final Blade Mode combo. It's all more than possible should the player truly learn to master Raiden. However, as previously mentioned, momentum is very important for Raiden as a character, and should he lose it, the effects of Zendatsu will also be lost. If Raiden takes more than 3 hits in quick succession, the opponent attacking him will have one of their Zendatsu stacks removed. And while Raiden will only get 1 combo hit out of an endless combo of rapid hit attacks from his opponents will count as individual attacks, meaning that getting caught by these kind of attacks can quickly wash all your work down the drain. At its core, Blade Mode and Zendatsu are mechanics that will demand a lot from their player, as knowledge about combo paths and a notable amount of execution are just as important as a strong neutral game and knowing when to back off. But those that take the time to learn about Raiden's intricacies will find a character that can be one of the series' most dangerous fighters if he finds an opening. Now that you're well acquainted with the main mechanic behind Raiden, let's now talk about the moves that fuel his dangerous combo game as we move on to his normals. As previously mentioned, almost all of Raiden's normals are attacks utilizing his trademark high-frequency blade, this stylish sword covering a solid range and striking opponents so fast you might confuse it with lightning. Many of his blade's stylish attack options are pulled straight from their appearance in Metal Gear Rising, allowing Raiden to maintain a lot of the same game feel and stylish combo routes one would expect from a Platinum Games developed action game. Raiden's neutral combo is the first half of his standard light combo from Metal Gear Rising, this being titled Blade Combination 1. This 5-hit string will feature a variety of horizontal and vertical slashes before the opponent is launched away by the final swing, all while providing a reasonable disjoint thanks to the length of Raiden's sword. While that sounds strong enough on its own, it doesn't stop there, as the player is capable of cancelling any of the first 4 hits into Raiden's forward tilt, this leading to longer combos and in turn, more stacks of Zendatsu being racked up on your opponent. As a result, it'll be a rare occasion to see a player ever fully finish this combo attack, and even if you are in a position to do so, let it be known that Raiden has far stronger launcher options. As for his forward tilt, this will be the second half of his standard light combo from Metal Gear Rising, with this move being titled Blade Combination 2. This slower combo string will push Raiden forward as he attacks, and as previously mentioned, it can be comboed into from the first 4 hits of Raiden's neutral combo. However, while it can be comboed into from neutral combo, it cannot combo back into the neutral combo at any point, meaning that this is a sequence of attacks you'll have to commit to, especially since the cancel window between attacks is notably late into each strike. Also, while the ending hit of Raiden's neutral combo is more of a horizontal launcher, the ending hit of the forward tilt is a vertical launcher, allowing for the player to potentially jump cancel the final hit into an aerial follow-up at low to mid percents. Just be sure to keep in mind that this combo's weak shield damage makes it easy to punish should your opponent block it at close range. So if your opponent blocks the neutral combo, it's best to cancel there before you take unneeded damage. Raiden's up tilt is Blade Launcher, a simple upward slice that will knock nearby foes off the ground and up into the air. Thanks to its quick speed and notable disjoint, this is one of Raiden's strongest combo starters, and it's one that can even start at higher percentage thanks to its low knockback growth, but as an anti-air, this move's range is rather short, with it barely going past the top of Raiden's head. As a result, Raiden will need to challenge jump-ins with other attack options, as unless he properly spaces his opponent, chances are high he'll lose the jump-in trade. Raiden's down tilt is Ankle Slice, a quick sweeping slash that will cover a decent range while Raiden greatly lowers his hurtbox. This move sports 2 different launch angles, with the one the player gets being determined by which half of the blade connects with the opponent. If the opponent is hit by the tip, they'll be launched horizontally, allowing Raiden to use this move as a spacing option, while the half closer to the hilt of the blade will launch foes up into the air, allowing the player to use this move as a combo starter much like his up tilt. Overall, this is one of Raiden's best grounded normals thanks to its not only multiple purposes in a fight, but it also makes Raiden harder to hit, and in turn, harder to challenge. Also, as an added bonus, since both Blade Launcher and Ankle Slice are follow-up attacks in Metal Gear Rising, both of these attacks can be comboed into from Raiden's regular Blade combination, with Blade Launcher working off of any strike if the player buffers the inputs, while Ankle Slice will work after any of the Blade combination's first 3 attacks. Raiden's dash attack is Lightning Strike, a powerful advancing tool that will have Raiden rush forward with his blade extended, all before coming to a stop once he either travels the full distance or his blade makes contact with a foe. This attack will cover a wide horizontal range in a very short amount of time, making this move one of Raiden's best tools for catching slow attacks or poor get-up options in the neutral. And while Raiden's other grounded normals are fairly weak and designed more for combo strings than launch power, Lightning Strike's knockback growth is strong enough to confirm kills at fairly reasonable percents. However, while that's the case, this move is very unsafe if it makes contact with a shield, and a lapse in judgment is all it might take to lose all your hard work. For his get-up attack, Raiden will attack around himself by either slashing or performing a spinning kick, all while performing a straight stab for his ledge attack. For his smash attacks, Raiden will utilize a few of his more powerful techniques from Metal Gear Rising, with these 3 attacks providing him with powerful kill options and great punish tools should his opponent try to jump the gun. However, while powerful, these attacks are notably slower than that of Raiden's other attack options, and as a result, whiffing or making contact with your opponent's shield can lead to some serious punishment. Raiden's forward smash is Thunder Draw, a powerful showing of Raiden's incredible reflexes as he sheathes his blade, all before drawing it and slashing out in front of himself with lightning fast speed. This powerful single-hit blow will cover a wide range, and should your opponent try to block this attack head-on, they'll be surprised to find out that this move packs some incredibly strong shield pressure. However, this move's very small active hitbox and slow recovery might keep it from something the player can just throw out of the neutral, so try to use it when you have your opponent on the defensive. Raiden's up smash is Sky High, a high-flying attack that will have Raiden bend down before thrusting his body upwards, all while attacking with his sword held in his foot. This attack will have Raiden greatly lower his heart box as he attacks, with both his leg and his sword sporting a disjointed hitbox that allows him to trade well with attacks from above. In comparison to his other smash attacks, Sky High sports the quickest recovery and startup speed, but in turn also sports the least amount of damage. Still, this is one of Raiden's safest options for challenging platforms, and at low to mid percents, it's even possible to follow up this attack with aerial combos. Finally, Raiden's down smash is Stormbringer, a powerful area controlling tool that will have Raiden spin along the ground with his sword held in his foot, striking multiple times on both sides before launching all caught foes away. Thanks to this move's multi-hitting properties, this is one of Raiden's best Okizeme options, and thanks to the disjoint provided by the sword, it's quite hard to challenge straight on. However, the move's brief startup and cooldown might make it dangerous to use if your opponent can see it coming. As he hails from an action game, it's only natural that Raiden would have aerial attack options in his repertoire. However, while that's the case, some attacks had to be made from scratch as most aerial combat in MGR is either in front of or below you. But even so, they're designed to feel right at home with the rest of Raiden's kit. Raiden's neutral air is Aerial Rave, a series of aerial slashes that is based on Raiden's jumping light combo from Metal Gear Rising. These 5 slashes will slow Raiden's aerial momentum as he attacks, with the final hit of the combo launching opponents up and away from Raiden with moderate force, with it only being moderate as this attack is designed more for racking up damage and Zandatsu stacks as opposed to confirming kills. During the attack combo, the player is capable of cancelling any of the first 4 hits into either an air dodge or a second jump, this allowing for Raiden to potentially catch larger characters in a ladder combo in order to maximize their Zandatsu stacks. Despite all these upsides, it's still best to be careful, as this move's weak shield damage might make it easy for opponents to punish Raiden if they see it coming. As a result, it's best to use this combo off of a grounded follow-up as opposed to as an engage tool. Raiden's forward air is Slicing Wind, the standard jumping heavy attack from Metal Gear Rising that will have Raiden perform a wide-hitting vertical slice with his sword held in his foot. This attack's rather slow startup might seem a bit jarring at first, especially when compared to Raiden's other attack options, but should the player combo into this attack from either their up tilt or down tilt, they'll find this to be one of Raiden's greatest kill confirms should it manage to make contact. Just try to not land with it, as it's not just the startup that's quite slow. Raiden's up air is Windmill Slice, a new attack created for Smash that will have Raiden hold his sword in his foot, all before performing a front flip to striking a wide arc above himself. This quick attack is one of Raiden's strongest aerial juggling tools next to his neutral air, with its quick recovery speed allowing the player to use it as a landing option in certain situations. On top of that, this move also sports a disjoint on the second half of Raiden's blade, allowing for the player to potentially win trades against opponents from above. Raiden's back air is Thunder Strike, a unique take on one of Raiden's grounded attacks in Metal Gear Rising that will have him turn around in midair, all before releasing a short-range shockwave to blast opponents away. This attack's below-average startup, combined with its incredible knockback growth, make it one of Raiden's strongest kill confirms, with its speed and disjoint making it a dangerous move to challenge straight on. Mixed with its notable landing lag, leg, making an attack that's quite unsafe to land with. Finally, Raiden's down air is Headcracker, a fastfall aerial based on an attack of the same name from Metal Gear Rising. With this, Raiden will hold his sword in his foot and fall straight through the air, performing an axe kick as he covers a sizable range in front of himself. Both Raiden's leg and his sword will sport different launch angles and damage, with the leg launching foes straight up into the air and dealing less damage, while the sword will not only deal more damage, but will also sport a meteor smash effect at the beginning of the attack. While that's the case, this move suffers from a lot of the same weaknesses as most fastfall aerials, in that they're very unsafe to use haphazardly and are very easy to punish if either blocked or whiffed. However, since this move sports a wide horizontal hitbox, it's possible to make this attack potentially safe should you hit your opponent with the tip of the sword. That, and it's a great edge guarding tool thanks to said notable difference in design. Raiden will grab his opponent using his free hand, all while striking them with his knee for his pummel. For his throws, Raiden will mainly utilize throws stylized after attacks from MGR, with these throws being designed more for style than substance. Regardless of their purpose, they fit Raiden to a T, and they're all very satisfying to pull off. Raiden's forward throw is a salt drop, this having Raiden grab his opponent by the leg before slamming them into the ground in front of him, the impact launching the opponent away with notable force. This throw is designed mainly to create space or force an opponent off stage for a potential kill confirm, with it even having the potential to confirm a kill at much higher percents. But one thing that works with all percents is how satisfying it is to pull off. Raiden's up throw is Lightning Flash, this having Raiden perform a downward slash to briefly stun his opponent, all before launching them upwards with a backflip strike. This throw is based on the takedown animation Raiden can perform against geckos in Metal Gear Rising, and at low to mid percents, the player can use this as a combo starter. Raiden's back throw is Thunder Crush, this having Raiden grab the opponent before jumping into the air, slamming the opponent into the ground behind him in order to launch them away. This is the second half of the takedown Raiden can perform on UGs, and much like his forward throw, this move is mainly used to just create space or set up an offstage kill, only with a bit more power behind it. Also, just like his forward throw, it is very satisfying to pull off. Finally, Raiden's down throw is Stealth Cutter, a more subtle throw option that will have Raiden spin his opponent around, all before running them through with his sword. This blow will cause the opponent to enter a soft knockdown state, much like Snake's down throw. And just like said throw, the player is capable of capitalizing on how their opponent attempts to get up with a variety of different attacks. Although Raiden does lack the kill confirm that is Snake's up tilt. We've now made it to Raiden's specials, and in terms of design, these are the moves that will bring out the most of Raiden's potential as a character, with their purpose being more for utility than that of style. All of these abilities are pulled straight from Metal Gear Rising, only with notable balance differences to help them fit better into a fighting game. Starting with the neutral special, Raiden will make use of his secondary attack style from Metal Gear Rising that is integral to his combo-oriented playstyle and adds a whole new way to play the character. His heavy attacks. In Metal Gear Rising, Raiden's heavy attacks were completely unique attacks from that of his light attacks, with heavy attacks mainly consisting of kicks with his sword held in his foot. These attacks are notably slower, both on startup and the fact that their cancel windows are far later than that of light attacks, but in turn, they deal notably more damage and have much greater range. Here in Smash, Raiden is capable of performing the same heavy attacks he can perform in Metal Gear Rising, and just like MGR, these attacks on their own will deal much heavier damage and be a great way to confirm a kill. However, what if I were to tell you that there's far more to heavy attacks than just more damage? You see, in MGR, the player is capable of mixing both light and heavy attacks in order to perform unique combo attacks, with each combo providing the player with unique ways to pressure their foes and break down their defenses. And all of these combos can also be performed here in Smash as well by mixing the A and B attacks together. All of these combos will start with B attacks as opposed to A attacks, much like all combos in MGR start with heavy attacks as opposed to light attacks. And here's how they work. By pressing B repeatedly, the player will perform Raiden's standard heavy attack combo, featuring a series of kick attacks that will transition into a flurry attack that will rack up damage rather quickly. To end the combo, Raiden will perform one final straight kick to send foes flying, with this attack being a great kill option should you catch your opponent at higher percents. If the player inputs A after pressing the first B, Raiden will perform Tornado Slash, a rapid-hitting advancing slash that will have Raiden fly forward through the air like a spinning top. On its own, Tornado Slash does fairly weak damage in exchange for a long-lasting hitbox. And thankfully, it doesn't need to be the end of the combo. By inputting B again after Tornado Slash, Raiden will transition into Stab Kick, a powerful stock closure that will have Raiden cover a sizable range with both his leg and his sword. While very strong should Tornado Slash manage to connect, this is a prime way to get yourself heavily punished should any of the attacks before it end up being whiffed or blocked. If the player inputs B, B, and then A, Raiden will perform Cross Slice, an advancing pair of slashes that will deal above average shield damage on hit. This combo attack's greatest strength is its ability to push in on opponents playing a defensive game, and should the opponent block the first first 2 hits leading into cross slice, the player can then force dangerous 50-50 scenarios should the opponent continue to hold their shield, thanks to the fact that the player can cancel the second hit of cross slice into either shield, grab, jump, or more importantly, the destructive follow-up attack to his low roundhouse. This attack will have Raiden perform a low sweeping kick near the ground, his sword being held in his foot in order to increase this attack's range and make it all the harder to roll through. Normally, this attack's knockback and damage aren't as strong as Raiden's other combo enders, but to make up for it, this attack sports some extremely strong shield damage, and should the opponent be foolish enough to try and block cross slice, finishing off their guard with low roundhouse is the best way to lead into an even more destructive stock closer. If the player inputs B, 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 and then A, Raiden will perform triple kick upswing, this being the combo-oriented follow-up as he performs a series of vertical slashes. These slashes dealing weak damage, but hitting enough to guarantee a stack of Zendatsu if it lands. On top of that, much like cross slice, the player is capable of canceling this attack into a variety of potential follow-up options. This means the player can use this combo to start a guaranteed air combo, and potentially link into blade mode setup should they have enough stacks of Zendatsu on their opponent. However, should you have your opponent at a high enough percent, perhaps you'd prefer to go for triple kick upswing's follow-up attack that the player can perform by inputting B, Throat Slicer. Throat Slicer sports a healthy balance of speed and strength, with it being the middle ground between Raiden's combo enders. However, decided apart from the group, Throat Slicer sports the longest range of all 3 combo enders, and as a result, it can be used to catch poor spacing in the neutral and allow the player to use the upswing as bait to confirm a kill. All of these combo options make Raiden a character that's very hard to keep tabs on, especially since the player can cancel almost any section of the combo into another attack or movement option. But as strong as all this is only the grounded version of Raiden's neutral special, as these combos aren't something the player can actually perform in the air. Instead, for his aerial neutral special, Raiden will make use of an attack that's not only a reference to other titles made by Platinum Games, but is one of his strongest engage tools thanks to its speed and follow-up potential. Falling Lightning. This stylish attack will have Raiden either perform a dive kick down towards the ground, or if he's locked onto an enemy, towards his target, with the move itself referencing Bayonetta's Afterburner kick, which in turn is a reference to Beautiful Joe's Red Hot kick. Here in Smash, Raiden will take a brief moment to build up electricity in his leg, all before performing a rushing kick in a direction chosen by the player. This attack will cover a sizable distance in a rather short amount of time, and once Raiden makes contact with an opponent, they will take moderate damage as they're bounced upwards into the air. At this point, the player is capable of performing a variety of follow-up attacks, including aerials, other specials, or, should your move be blocked, a second jump and an air dodge. But do be sure you make it count, as should this move miss, you'll find that this attack's recovery is far greater than you'd expect. Moving on to his side special, Raiden will use his cybernetic enhancement to press the advantage and force his opponents to engage. Some might call it a zoner's worst nightmare, but its actual name is Ninja Rush. In Metal Gear Rising, Raiden's Ninja Run ability could be used to instantly bypass obstacles in its path and deflect incoming bullets, with there being a few sections in the game that are dedicated purely to running through a section of the map at high speed. Here in Smash, Raiden's Ninja Run has been translated into a command run that will have Raiden rush forward after a brief startup animation, with this run having him travel at a notably higher speed as electricity emits from his legs. In this state, Raiden will automatically deflect smaller projectiles by swinging his sword around himself, and should the player find themselves rushing into danger, they can get the hell out of dodge by either holding shield or jumping within the first 15 active frames of the run. On top of that, the player is also capable of cancelling into this command run from specific normals, namely his neutral and forward tilt combos, allowing the player to close the gap should they accidentally push the opponent out of their effective combo range. Also, if used in the air, Raiden will perform a quick rushing dash through the air, almost akin to Fox Illusion, granting Raiden a strong horizontal recovery option before he goes into a freefall state. While Ninja Rush only continues to solidify Raiden's ability to pressure his opponents and force his way through their defenses, Ninja Rush is far more than a simple mobility tool, as while the move is active, the player is capable of performing one of 2 unique attacks in order to keep Raiden from simply being knocked out of the dash, with these being Blade Flurry and Ninja Slide. Blade Flurry is a mobile endless attack that will have Raiden swing his blade around himself as he moves forward. These attacks dealing weak yet rapid damage as the opponent will be dragged along by the countless slashes. While that's the case, this move's hit stun will decay the longer the opponent is caught up in the slashes, and on top of that, its damage is fairly low. So why would you use it? Well, simple really. On top of being used as a combo bridge since it can be cancelled, Raiden will destroy incoming projectiles by cutting clean through them. Granted, moves such as fully charged energy projectiles will bypass the swipes, but moves like Robin's Arc Fire, Wolf's Laser, Bayonetta's Bullet Climax, and Hero's Frizzle will have no effect on Raiden. On top of that, projectiles that count as items, such as Peach's Turnips, Rob's Gyro, or Diddy Kong's Banana Peel, will also bypass the effects of Blade Flurry, so it's best to be careful when using this move against certain characters. Thankfully, the other attack option will work regardless of what projectile the opponent is packing, as once it hits, any character will be in for a world of hurt. Ninja Slide. Ninja Slide is a dangerous advancing tool that will have Raiden perform a rushing slide along the ground, this attack lowering Raiden's hurt box and making it much easier to bypass attacks coming from above. Once Raiden makes contact with an opponent in this state, they will be popped off their feet and knocked upwards into the air, all while being put into a state of heavy hit stun despite its only average at best knockback growth. You might be thinking that means that Raiden can use this move as a combo starter, but that's not the case, as he doesn't stop sliding once he makes contact with an opponent. If that's the case, what is it used for? Well, instead of being a combo starter, this move instead serves as one of Raiden's strongest kill setups, as the player is capable of canceling the sliding hit into blade mode, allowing the player to turn this advancing strike into huge damage. Don't have any Zendatsu stacks available? Don't worry, as landing this move will instantly grant your opponent 2 extra stacks for you to work with. Of course, this is all considering you actually managed to land a hit, as while the upsides are fantastic, its downsides are quite substantial as well. Compared to Raiden's other attacks, Ninja Slide can be considered one of its most unsafe attack options thanks to its long cooldown and only counting for a single hit, meaning that hitting your opponent's shield is a prime way to either lose your Zendatsu stacks or, worst case scenario, your entire stock. Moving on to his recovery special, Raiden will make use of a simple attack that will cover a solid vertical range and deal solid damage in the process. Rising Slash. This attack will have Raiden bend his leg as he crouches down. This attack will have Raiden bend his leg back as he crouches down, all before throwing his leg forward and rising up into the air sword first. This is fairly standard as far as uppercut recoveries go, although it should be mentioned that Rising Slash's recovery range is almost purely vertical, meaning that Raiden will need to get as close to the stage as possible in order to make this recovery work. This opens up the potential for edge guarding and a genuinely difficult time for the Raiden player should they end up off stage. And while Raiden doesn't go into a helpless state after the attack, it doesn't matter if there's no chance of reaching that ledge. Thankfully, Falling Lightning and Ninja Rush can provide some alternative recovery options, but while that's the case, all of them also sport their own notable weaknesses. This is why it's important to keep the momentum of the match in your court, as once you lose it, you'll find that Raiden is far more vulnerable than he appears, which is quite fitting if you know anything about stun combos in MGR. Finally, for his down special, Raiden will make use of 2 different special moves, with one being Raiden's regular down special without any special input, while the other is only usable if the player cancels into it from another attack. These are Blade Parry and Blade Mode. Blade Parry is a counter-attack and Raiden's only defensive option in MGR, this having Raiden raise his blade and take a defensive stance, and should his opponent make contact with his blade, their attack will be deflected as Raiden will then counter with an advancing slash. This slash will deal moderate damage at best, regardless of what attack Raiden deflects, all while knocking foes hit by it off the ground. On paper, this might sound like a notably weaker counter than the others that are available in Smash, but what it lacks in damage it more than makes up for in utility, as once the counter attack lands, the opponent's struck will be instantly afflicted with the max stacks of Zendatsu, regardless of how many stacks they had beforehand. As a result, this can be one of Raiden's most dangerous combo starters and kill setups, but it should be known that this attack will only work against physical attacks. Should Raiden attempt to parry a projectile, be it physical or energy, the projectile will bypass the parry and Raiden will take the full brunt of the attack. As for Blade Mode, this aforementioned ability is Raiden's main character mechanic and allows the player to set up unique combo paths unlike anything seen in Smash as of right now. Of course, as previously mentioned, Blade Mode will require stacks of Zendatsu in order to use effectively, so the responsibility of maximizing Raiden's potential is all on the shoulders of the player. It will be a tall order to fill, but with the right amount of practice, you too can become a master ninja. Next is the final smash, and for this, it's time for Jack to let it rip. There's only one way this move could possibly go, and thankfully, said direction is the best direction possible. This is Jack the Ripper. When the final smash starts, Raiden's body will begin to emit a red glow as he activates his Ripper mode, the game's install mode that will greatly increase Raiden's damage at the cost of draining his blade mode bar. At this point, Raiden will perform a wide-hitting draw slash using a gift from his good friend, Jetstream Sam, the HF Murasama. All opponents caught in this draw slash will be knocked up into the air and locked into the final smash as Raiden enters the second half of the attack, a Ripper-fueled blade mode. At this point, Raiden will unleash a series of powerful sword slashes in order to rack up damage, all before unleashing one final slash to break the blade mode and launch all caught foes away. With one final remark, Raiden will end the Ripper mode and sheath the Murasama, all before drawing his regular HF blade and returning to his idle animation. For his victory theme, I feel there's only one possible song that could ever properly fit Raiden. It's arguably the most iconic song from Metal Gear Rising, it's a song that's only gotten better with time, it's a song that truly befits its name, Rules of Nature. Victory animation number 1 will have Raiden clean his blade by wiping it in between his bicep and forearm, all before sheathing the blade and looking into the camera. This is an animation that's seen multiple times throughout Metal Gear Rising, with it being one of Raiden's main victory poses throughout a variety of boss fights. Victory animation number 2 will have Raiden answer a codec call, all while giving a confirmation that the mission has been accomplished. This unique animation is being designed to be a parallel to one of Snake's victory animations, as codec calls are a staple aspect of the Metal Gear series. Have Raiden face the opposite direction as Snake and you can keep the both sides of same coin aspect I talked about in Raiden's character basics. Finally, victory animation number 3 will show a close-up of Raiden's face, all before his eye opens and the camera zooms out. At this point, lightning will flash in the background and Raiden's eye will begin to glow a vibrant red. This is, of course, a reference to the title screen and main menu of Metal Gear Rising, with the opening eye being the first thing the player sees when they open up the game. Taunt number 1 will have Raiden activate his AR visor, a device in MGR that allowed the player to scan their surroundings and discover where to go next. If the player holds the taunt button during this taunt, they can have Raiden keep it on permanently, much like how Claren can take off her visor in Rivals of Aether. Taunt number 2 will have Raiden strike a battle-ready pose, hand on the hilt of his blade as it crackles with electricity. This simple taunt animation is inspired by the same pose seen on the main menu, although it's taken its own way thanks to the unique stance. Finally, taunt number 3 will have Raiden pull out a cardboard box and hide inside of it, all before taking it off and throwing it away. This taunt will work almost identically to the same taunt used by Snake, with the only major difference being that Raiden is capable of crawling around inside his box before he takes it off. You'd think Snake would be able to do that too, but I guess they overlooked that aspect when designing his taunts. For his colors, Raiden will make references to the various outfits the player can obtain via purchases in Metal Gear Rising. While these outfits had the potential to change some of Raiden's stats in MGR, they're purely for visual flair here in Smash. Color number 1 is Raiden's standard appearance, featuring his jet black exoskeleton and striking silver hair. This state-of-the-art body is what grants Raiden the ability to harvest electrolytes and heal himself via Zandatsu kills, and it's a striking step up from his previous appearances. Color number 2 will have Raiden don the white armor, thus changing his exoskeleton to a dull white. In MGR, this would allow for the player to hold more healing gels at any given time, making it the beginner-friendly armor that players can use. Color number 3 will have Raiden don the Inferno armor, this changing his exoskeleton to a vibrant red. This suit would allow the player to hold extra rockets, making Raiden's sub-weapons much more useful. Color number 4 will have Raiden don the Commando armor, this changing his exoskeleton to an olive green. This suit would grant the player extra carry room for grenades, making specific bosses, including Monsoon and Mistral, notably easier as they can be chain stunned by EMP grenades. Color number 5 will have Raiden don the Desperado armor, this keeping the same black as his standard exoskeleton while also adding on a variety of red decals themed after the enemy faction of MGR, Desperado. This outfit makes it harder for enemies to spot you, as it will take them more time to notice you. It also happens to go really great with the HF Murasama. Color number 6 will have Raiden don his mariachi uniform, a stylish disguise Raiden used to enter Mexico at the beginning of Chapter 3. You don't see him use it for very long, but the time we do see it spawned a fan favorite outfit that no Raiden moveset could ever go without. Color number 7 will have Raiden don his old exoskeleton from Metal Gear Solid 4, this featuring a light blue and olive green exoskeleton with a far more bulky visor that surrounds Raiden's entire head. This was the point where many people began to enjoy Raiden as a character, so it's only fitting it gets represented here in Smash. Finally, color number 8 will completely change Raiden's appearance as he dons the classic exoskeleton and helmet of fan favorite Metal Gear character, Gray Fox. On top of taking on his appearance, Raiden will swap his HF blade for the stylish Fox blade used by Frank Yeager himself. While this blade is incredibly strong in MGR, here it will function identically to Raiden's standard blade for balancing purposes. Metal Gear Rising is a game that I cannot recommend enough to people that have never played it before. For what was once considered a black sheep by fans of the series has now become what some might consider the greatest game in the Metal Gear franchise. And this amazing game experience is set to become 10 years old in a little under 2 weeks' time. If you can afford to get it, please do so, as you will not be disappointed. Be sure to get it on PC as well, as you get a bunch of would-be DLC for free, all while being able to enjoy a variety of mods and other ways to customize your experience. But enough about MGR and how amazing a game it is. What about Raiden? Well, simply put, Raiden is an iconic character that many have clamored to see in a fighting game since his untimely inclusion in PlayStation All-Stars. And I honestly thought he might have had a chance given that not only had Snake come back to Smash, but there was a bunch of MGR-related content that they could include in Smash. And God was it soul-crushing to learn that not only was Raiden not getting into Smash, but no MGR content was going to be included alongside Snake. Seriously, how did they not get MGR's music in Ultimate? Regardless of the reason, Raiden definitely feels like an excellent candidate for a future Smash title, but there's a lot of ifs surrounding his potential inclusion. If Snake comes back, if MGR is relevant enough come the next Smash title, if they even consider MGR part of the series. I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Whatever game they put Raiden in next, chances are high I'm going to play it. If you like what you saw, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment as it helps with both the algorithm and my work ethic. Also, be sure to press that little bell icon to make sure you never miss a future upload, as this site tends to be a bit fickle with that sort of stuff. For now, I've been Felicia Fan, and I hope you have a good one.